What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here with another video, and today I want to put up a quick video in the middle of the day just for y'all. It's going to be a little bit later. Apologies about that. If you guys are following, of course, you guys know the whole Wi-Fi situation. It's resolved. So tomorrow morning, we're going to be getting that mock draft back up for you guys. Hopefully, we can have a really good time with that. But today, I want to do something a little bit different. I was actually looking for a mock draft where I saw like Kylo Gordon went number 3 overall. Couldn't find it, but you know what? I saw that PFF 2 days ago released their top 100 prospects. So that's fun. So I want to take a quick look at it. I have not seen it yet. By the way, if you guys do want to use their Cyber 40% off gift code, do that. If you guys are students or veterans, you get 50% off as well. Don't know why I'm exactly promoting it, but I just think it's good information. It's a really good database. They do a very good job with that. Regardless, I'm not sponsored by them. I am sponsored by Olipop. This is my favorite soda brand on the planet. It's actually the only one that's actually healthy for you. Regardless, if you guys like it, go down in the description and get 15% off with my code. But let's kick into the video. Starting off with the number 1 pick, Aiden Hutchinson out of but their number 1 guy on their board, Aiden Hutchinson. Cannot complain with them at this point. Honestly, I think that he's even surpassed Evan Neal for me. You know, once TDN gets their head and ass wired together, or if they already have, we'll do a side-by-side and then we can compare. But for me, I also have Aiden Hutchinson at the top of my board. And I think we all kind of know the top 5, 6 prospects in this. KT's number 2. For me, that's Evan Neal, but I really can't complain about KT being number 2. He's number 3 for me right now. Kyle Hamilton, another guy who's just a freaky, weird athlete. Big fan of him. A safety at number 3 may sound ridiculous, but I think it's worth it. Derek Stingley at 4. I don't have him that high. I have him closer to like 6 or 7, but you're really nitpicking at that point. He is really damn good. You know, I know the big drop off has been a concern, but still he is very, very talented. So there's no doubt about it. Evan Neal, of course, absolute monster. Don't know what the hell that is. Obviously, it's just pop up. Tyler Linderbaum at number 6. I haven't seen any of this, so trust me, I don't know what's coming. I'm just saying he's a top 5 guy for me. Everybody was calling me crazy, like it was an overdraft for Tyler Linderbaum, like 7 for the Eagles or something. I'm like, it really isn't. This guy probably will be taken in the top 10. He will. He is that good. To me, I think he is, since Quentin Nelson, the best interior offensive lineman we have seen. He is that good. He's not better than Quentin Nelson. But for the center position, I don't know if we've seen a better prospect coming out. I love Tyler Linderbaum, such a beast. Then we have Carl Loftus here. Injuries aside, talent, totally understand this one. He's not in that top 10 for me just because of that, but you see his consistency, his pass rush moves. Yeah, this guy's a fully polished prospect. This guy's an absolute freak. So, I mean, it's certainly not hypocritical at all. We'll start speaking out because it's 100 dudes, but just got to get in on here. Garrett Wilson, my wide receiver 1, so I see it's theirs as well. Big fan of him. He can do anything. I really do like him. If there's anybody to get taken in the top 10 that's a receiver, top 15, it better be Garrett, because no offense, the other guys aren't worth it. Charles Cross next. I have a chem above him, but man, he put on weight and then he gained an anchor. I'm not going to be too much against that because, again, they have Ikem Ekwonu at the number 10 spot. That is perfectly fine. They are kind of like tackle 2A, 2B, depending on what you're looking for. Charles Cross was the more developed prospect and it just had that anchor issue, added weight, and now he's a lot better at it. Ikem Ekwonu was the guy who never had any physical problems. It was just more the mechanical stuff that he has gotten better at. This class looked really crap at the start of the year, and thank God in the offseason, these tackles and guard tackle hybrids have just totally stepped their game up. Big fan of these programs as well for doing that, as well as the kids themselves. Like, I'm sure you have to have some form of internal drive to be able to work in the off season on your footwork and all that mechanical stuff. So big fan of that. Nakobe Dean at 11. Wow. That's really, really high. I don't think I'd ever go that high with him just because, again, he is really light, but this dude's great. Really good in coverage, really good in the blitz. If you use him in the right scheme, this dude is worth a top 15 pick, and I'm perfectly fine with that. 12, Trent McDuffie. I mean, I don't think he's that good. You know, he doesn't have that height. He's Mikhail Wright height, right here, 5'11", but I mean, he is a really good corner. I just think that guy like Sauce Gardner's a bit better. Kyrie Elam has that better frame, but obviously Trent McDuffie's been playing a bit better than that. So Trent McDuffie, not going to hate on it. It's just, again, I can see why. Just not going to do that for me. Kenyon Green, perfect spot for him. You know, he's a guy where he has that top 10 potential in the class, but just, again, you are an interior offensive lineman with unproven talents at tackle. So it's weird. It's a weird spot for him. You can see him go as high as 5. You can see him go as probably low as 25. It just depends on what teams think of his evaluation. Because, again, you're not going to get a high-end guard in the middle of the first unless you really think that there's some legit upside there. In Kenyon Green, we got to see if a team really thinks he has a place on their team. Jameson Williams, wow. So I don't mean to toot my own horn. I was one of the first people to actually fall in love with Jameson Williams. You go back to some of the first videos I made this year. It's like, this guy was legit. I don't think he's number 14 overall, and I'm a big fan of him. Nowhere near 14, but he is one hell of a great prospect, and he's developed tremendously over the year. Ojabo, another guy, I think he's a little bit, he's a bit overrated, but that being said, he's still a top 25 guy in the class. Like, he is a very good guy and a really good edge prospect. But you see, when the attention's not focused on you, like a Bud Dupree to TJ Watt scenario, you're going to perform well. Not saying that he is like Bud Dupree. He's a very, very talented edge rusher, but the talent gap is tremendous, and it shows. It really does show. So that's just saying, he's 25 instead of 15. Again, nitpicking, but there you go. First quarterback, Matt Corral at 16. I don't think that I would put Matt Corral as the number 1 quarterback, even though I have obviously some form of emotional connection to Matt. Just don't think that that's the right spot for him. I just don't think he's the number 1 quarterback. He just, as size, it just doesn't look right when he's playing. He doesn't look like an NFL quarterback. Not saying that he's not worth a first-round pick. I just don't think he's QB1. Kyrie Elam, yeah, he's extremely talented. You see that. I don't really like his catch percentage, but he is still, you look at the frame, ridiculous player. Roger McCreary been playing absolutely out of his mind this year, so good job on him. Jaquan Brisker, yeah, all right. He's a nasty safety. I don't think that a safety deserves to be that high if just with Jaquan Brisker's skill set. Probably a late first for me. Kenny Pickett, he's just been doing really, really well this year. Don't think he's QB2 for me. I think he's probably close to QB4 or 5. Devin Lloyd, it's Devin Lloyd. Drake London after the injury. Yeah, I can see him right there. He's been absolutely lighting it up this year. So big fan of him coming into the year as well. Chris Olave, another really smooth route runner. Good guy to push the field as well. I like him. Jordan Battle, another one of my favorite players. So I like him. I like him a lot. And as you can see, took some big steps. So I love players that progress. Kingsley, another really solid edge defender. There's nobody in here except like maybe Drake Jackson that, I'm just going to stop saying that because I was about to say there's nobody in here that's like blowing me out of the water. Jordan Davis moving like at 27 is pretty low, but again, it's not that big of a deal because, it is a defensive interior. Drake Jackson, just don't really think he's that great. But again, look at that. So again, another really good jump. And that is awesome to me. Again, injuries push him out of the first for me. Bernard Raymond, this is what I was saying. I posted this on Twitter. He caught my eye big time. Like, this guy is extremely athletic. One of my issues I had with him, I'll post my scouting report on him whenever I do it, because I really do think this guy's an absolute beast, is he had a little bit of an issue with speed rushers on the outside. His lateral movement wasn't great, but I think that's something that can work with in time. It might have been his comfortability. Like, look at this. He was playing tight end. So I don't think he has a chance going in the first. But day 2, I could see him going in the second round. Very, very, very talented tackle right there. Central Michigan, obviously not the best school in the world, but against LSU, he played extremely well. That was one of the games I watched with him. Really, really talented tackle right there. Don't think he's in my first round, but I'm not going to bitch and moan if he is. Number 30, Treylon Burks. Just again, his route running is the only issue, but hell, this guy is an absolute freak. Sam Howell, almost, I'm surprised that we aren't seeing Malik in here. Sam Howell, I can totally understand, like, taking a step back. You're not going to be the number one dude in the class, but he has ways to get around having passing issues, and his entire team is pretty much a very much weakened version of what it was last year. So I think there's a lot of hope still for Sam. Martin Emerson, another really nice cornerback. Trevor Penning, that guy's a freak. I'd put him above Bernard Raymond, but hell, this guy's a beast. Andrew Booth, just really, really athletic, great build. Just again, I just don't really see much in terms of actual like coverage ability from him. Like the frame is there, everything that you want is there. Just you got to continue working on that recognition and that IQ, and that's something that will take time. It will, but again, that's not something that you're going to be putting in that top 10 like TDN does. Desmond Ridder, I'm glad he's not in the first. I have him as an early second as well. Just he is extremely talented as a quarterback, and his inconsistency with his accuracy scares the shit out of me. And throwing some of those scary picks also scares the shit out of me. Something that you see with a lot of these quarterbacks in this class is just really bad reads. Not like, oh, well, that read could have been a little bit better, like scary bad reads. And that is true for Matt Corral, Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder. Carson Strong, honestly, might be the guy who is the least scary to me, which is weird because I'm not a huge Carson Strong fan. But just got to put that out there. If Desmond Ridder goes in the first, I'm not going to mind it whatsoever. Next, you got Arnold Ebiketti. Don't think that he is worth that high of a pick, but heck, this guy is a very, very good pass rusher. It's hard to watch the other guys on Penn State. Obviously, you got Brandon Smith as well as Jaquan Brisker. Arnold Ebiketti steals the show from him. This is just such a good edge class. I think a guy like David Ojabo, if he's not going to be getting confirmed top 15 hype, should just go back. Like the talent is, there's no way in hell all these guys are going to come out. It just doesn't make sense to me. Just because you guys are all first round talents. Obviously, Arnold Ebiketti was a transfer, so he needs to come out. But it's just such a great talented class that it is impossible for guys who are that talented to say, hey, I'm going to take a second round or a third round selection when I'm a first round level talent. It's a freaky class. Daxton Hill, I think that's a perfect spot for him. Malik Willis out here. It's okay. They're not disrespecting him by putting him here. It's just very scary. I totally understand this. 19 turnover worthy plays. I have a weird feeling that's the scheme at Liberty. You just watch him as the player, and I feel like he has to force a lot to make things happen. I don't know if he's going to need to do that as much in the NFL. I feel like Liberty is kind of letting him down. Offensive line, not nearly as good. I have a weird feeling he's going to be the surprise of the class. Jahan Dotson, I'm very happy that he's not put solidly in the first. Just again, or he is the first round prospect. Just again, he's not in that top 32. He's just not worth that top 32 selection for the big board. And again, teams have their own schemes. So every big board's different for every team. Something that maybe next year or this year, depending on my amount of free time, I'm going to build a big board for every single team, because that's like, there's just guys who fit better with certain teams. Jahan Dotson fits with what the Patriots are looking for better than a guy, even like Chris Olave. Chris Olave is a worse fit than Jahan Dotson, even though Chris Olave is distinctly better. So we'll see about that. Carson Strong here. Again, you're seeing him at the perfect spot. I totally 100% am on board with that. Lewis Sign, he's actually a really good safety. I'm not going to bitch and moan about this, but it's a good spot. It's a good spot for him. I just think he is a little bit overrated at the moment. Like, I'm not going to, again, complain about it just to stop the cursing, but I'm not going to complain about him being here. A little bit overrated, but he is a very good safety. Jermaine Johnson, age is the only issue, I think, for him. But heck, this guy is freaky. If he slips in the first, I'm not going to complain. If you want to see a team that is ready to win now, this guy is ready to play now. This is a guy who I really want to watch. I haven't been able to watch him yet. Cameron Thomas. We're going to definitely see him for sure very soon. That's a very nice weight right there, because you can either bulk up for an interior or slim down and become even more athletic for an outside rusher. Like that's something that's very exciting for me. Obviously, you see that 72 pressures. That's awesome. So we'll see about that. Walker, dude, there's no way in hell this guy comes out this year. This guy's a bona fide first round talent if he goes back, especially if he develops his weight a little bit more. Like, this guy is really nasty. This guy's really nasty. Kyler Gordon, perfect spot for him. For some reason, I kept hearing people say he was like a top 10 prospect on PFF. I know that he is excellent. I think he might be one of the top coverage grades this year. But again, he is a number 2 corner going up against number 2 wide receivers. But also, this guy's an absolute beast. So there's a negative to him and there's a positive. I've always been a huge fan of Kyler Gordon. Even I think in my first mock draft, when I didn't know that much about him, I actually realized I was watching him the whole time when I was, I think I was watching Keith Taylor, and I kept seeing this like number 2 guy on the field. Pretty sure that was Kyler Gordon. Regardless, he is really, really good. I love Kyler Gordon. Brandon Smith here, I think this is a perfect spot for him. He's probably worth a bit more. Just again, he's a super young. He's a perfect size and height, as well as, of course, an extremely nice speed in that 4.3 tested zone coming out of high school. But it's not bad for a coverage linebacker to get an 80 grade. You're not going to be Nakobe Dean, and he has another 20 pounds almost on Nakobe. So he fits a different role, and he has a lot more development to do. But again, we see what the upside is from a guy like Micah Parsons. Don't think he's of that caliber, but he certainly should be at like an early to mid second. Myjai Sanders, very happy that he's not in that top 32 range. Just, I don't really see him as a super high end prospect. Just he didn't pop off on the screen to me. And I put him below some notable pass rushers like Zach Harrison. So yeah, he has a lot of talent, but let's just chill out a little bit. I was excited for him last year when he was a 3rd round pick to me. Obviously, he's a 2nd rounder, but we'll see. John Mechie here, he's developed his game quite a bit. I'm getting off the Mechie hate train more to like the Mechie realism train, which is right here. I think he's a late 2 to early 3, and I think that's perfectly fine. Devontae Wyatt out of Georgia. Yeah, I mean, this guy is really, really good. Again, look at him. Took a big step up this year. I do like it when I watch his tape. Very good. Darian Kennard, I can't blame them. I really can't blame them. It's really hard to say that Darian Kennard is going to be a top end prospect in this draft when he's still developing. Super raw and an extremely good run blocker. He's going to be an instant impact for any team that's looking to be more run heavy. So obviously, if you're a team that can use a guard or a tackle, he's the perfect fit because you have the upside at tackle, but putting him at guard might be the best thing you can do in the short term. And then be able to train him and get his mechanics down right for him to be able to transition for the long run. So a team like the Bengals, I think that'd be a perfect spot for him. 50 is a bit low just because, again, you see that there's a lot of development from him. I just think that he's a bit better than that. Logan Hall is someone I really need to watch. Sky Moore's in here. Wow. I need to watch a bit more of Sky. He did not pop off to me the same way that Dwayne Eskridge did. Obviously, Kenneth Walker, respect to him. Nick Benito, Daniel Faalele. Ferrari is actually really low on my, like, compared to where I have him. I think this guy is a early 2. It's really like it's like 10 to 15 different spot difference, right? You know, Christian Harris, Zion Johnson. I'm surprised Christian Harris is down here, but I'm also not. He's going to get overdrafted just because of his athletic upside. Zion Nelson's going to return. I hope Jackson Kirkland does too. Pretty sure Jackson Kirkland is a junior. He might be a senior, but I hope if he can return, he does. Just again, this class is shaping to be a really good one. And Zion and him could be probably 1A, 1B of next year's class as long as they continue to develop their anchors. So there's a lot to be able to like from those guys. I just don't think that they're going to come out. Breece Hall, finally not getting too disrespected right behind the number 1 running back right there. I like it. Trey McBride, number 1 tight end. Respect it. Guy's really damn good at running routes. Travis Jones, guy is a freaky athlete. So you got Jalen Cattle on here. After injuries, I totally understand why he's there. Just talent-wise, really good. Kellen Dyche, I do not have him anywhere near the top for mine. I don't think he's going to be a day 2 prospect for me. He is bones thin. He's 300 pounds at 6'7", and he looks like it. Just didn't really like him. And he has a big holding issue. I saw him get flagged for it, but I also saw a lot of plays where he didn't get flagged. Let me know if you guys have watched Kellen Dyche, because I'm not that big of a fan. Jalen Weidermeyer, that's perfect spot for him. Again, tight ends don't have that big of a value in the NFL unless you are an elite tight end, because you can see guys like Ricky Seals-Jones have a big impact, even though he's not a big impact player. Marcus Jones out of Houston, another guy I really need to watch. So we got the guys who we need to watch here. Channing Tindall, I've never heard of him. Another guy I need to watch. George Pickens, David Bell. So I know David Bell fans are going to be pissed off. I don't think that's a terrible rating. I would have him a little bit higher, but you got to see how good this class is. Darion Kendrick, I think that's a little bit ridiculous. He is an excellent man corner. Personality issues aside. Zach Harrison, I thought he looked a little bit fat, but he is still an extremely talented athlete. I think that's a bit low for him. Haven't seen Alex Wright out of UAB. Chad Bumma, guy who I definitely still have on my board. Zach, he's a RBBC back, man. He doesn't have that much value, and I totally understand that. Jalen Tolbert and Wan'Dale Robinson both play very big roles on their offenses. I think both are extremely underrated for this. Max Mitchell out of Louisiana, haven't been able to see him yet, but we do have tape on him, so I'm very excited to see that. Donovan West, another guy I want to watch. Sean Ryan. So I always thought that he was more of a guard. Thought he was a guard with some big tactical upside. And that's exactly what they have him here. And I think that he should be rated up a lot higher. Storm Duck, another guy who you guys see featured in mine. Tanner McKee, a guy who's definitely going to return. If he doesn't, that's just totally stupid. Brian Asamoah, or Asamoah. It's not Asamoah. Asamoah, a guy I've seen a little bit of. He's solid. He's just like a middle of the road linebacker. Nothing that's going to knock my shoes off. Perion Winfrey just had some issues this year, man. So Spiller, Doves, Justin Ross, all these guys here who have who are just kind of like one-trick ponies in my eyes. You know, Justin Ross, again, that injury just kind of just gave him a new one. I remember seeing the first game this year, so excited to watch Brandon Joseph, and he's just not the same. He really does need to return and just get back into his own body. He tried to put on weight, and unlike Charles Cross, who looked better, he looked exponentially worse. You need to go back to being a true free safety and being not NFL size. Like, just be you. Kyron Williams, definitely not worth it. Zonovan Knight, he's actually pretty damn good at returns as well, if I'm not mistaken. Just fumbling issues. Haven't seen these linebackers, so I'm seeing if anybody else pops off the screen for me. And realistically, there's nothing here. Jeremy Rucker ending off the list, blocking tight end with some receiving upside. So overall, nothing too crazy here. You know, there's nothing that's like, holy shit, this is going to be the JJ Arcega-Whiteside of the class where PFF has him top 10, even though he gets taken in the second and isn't deservedly taken until UDFA now. So let me know what you guys thought. Just want to have something a little bit different for you. I'll see you guys on the far side. Peace.